He's doing call force. Call force is a thing of the past. Anybody that thinks the call department is the way it was 20, 30 years, I'm one of them. I'm a dinosaur. 43 years ago was the best thing since sliced bread. 43 years later, it does not work. It does not work. And the difference, when you look at the cost difference between paying a one-year contract and doing it yourself, you get firefighters, EMTs, so they can do both, compared to just paying one fee and hopefully, having EMTs.
Well, that's the catch-22, like you said. 2 ambulances, they're out, we end up having to man it anyways.
We've done more transports this year. I'll put it to you this way, if what I have been told is correct, we did more transports in the month of June than we did all of last year.
Chief, what's the average time from Hampstead and from Sandown for
It all depends on a good day or a bad day. On an
worst
average-
case scenario?
On an average, the way it was explained to me, from Atkinson, you're looking at about 16 to 18. From the Hampstead, you're looking at about 18 to say 20, 21 minutes, depending on traffic.
And that would be after you reach the scene and you tone them?
Nope, they get toned the exact same time we do.
They do, okay.
They get toned the exact same time.
You guys are in there within, what, 3 to 5 minutes?
Who was?
Yeah.
3-5 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes your response time?
I've said this for many years. Get sick, have a fire, 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. We'll be at your house within 4 to 5 minutes tops. Fire or medical. It's a crew in the station. Like I said, the way it is set up, I've stood here since I became chief, and I could never understand. And I understand it was for zero bid. Well, zero bid, okay, that's what you get. Now you're paying.
Recording in progress.
Now you're paying.
So we're paying either way, and we're paying to subsidize the other towns at the same time.
Okay.
So another scenario over here would be, say, both ambulances are out over there. What's our fallback?
What was that, Joe? I'm sorry?
If both ambulances that they're going to provide, theoretically, out of Hampstead and Atkinson, if they're both in service, what is our fallback from there? What is their fallback?
That's easy. Have a medical Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and you'll have an ambulance at your door. After that, we have stood here for years. We are the only department that does not have some way of form. Part-timers, per diems, I'm not saying do full-time. Let's make that clear. Either part-time, per diem, or members getting a fee. We're the only ones that don't have it.
So what is that difference that you said the deputy put together a chart? What is the difference between, staffing it ourselves and going to them? What's that cost? I mean, I wish we had it in front of us to, make a rational decision.
I think you're talking about $120, 120 to 130,000. And that number is on the high side. Would be a difference. That number's on the high side. And again, everything changes every year with the rates that the town agrees, with Medicare, Blue Cross, et cetera. It all changes. It's a moving target. If anybody thinks that EMS it's going to be the lottery, it's not going to happen. Is it going to help substantially offset the cost to run it? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Theoretically, what would that produce for revenue, like for transporting? I mean, it all depends on calls, right?
That says between,
95 to 150.
there you go. Those figures should be.
Just real quick.
I have it in the email. Is that the email?
This might be something,
Okay, I'll look at
It
it.
just come across?
Yeah, we got it in our email. They just sent it.
thank you.
Again, there's so many variables to it, and the EMS coordinator who does it, my career doing EMS is done, but the guy that did the numbers can explain everything better.
Gentlemen, as you see before you, I did put together a couple of just brief overviews of how our response have been going for the past several years. Call volume has increased. current year to date, and I believe that was for the end of June, we had done 169 ambulance responses. Out of those, there's 124 transports by Trinity, and 20 including the Newton ambulance, which is more than what we've done the past several years. So on page 2, there's a breakdown, and generally we average somewhere around 172 transports a year, and about a third of those are at the advanced life support level. Just kind of going through the runs, figuring out what is either paramedic or an advanced level care versus what is basic life support care. The large majority are basic life support, which is EMT level care. And then when you go to the reimbursement, the numbers that I threw on there are basically, those are Medicare rates, and those are set rates. A large majority of the transports we do here in town involve Medicare. So that's, the projected revenue is only based on Medicare numbers, because those people who have private insurance, when we bill them out, we get more, but then there are those that don't have insurance, so obviously we lose the revenue there. So I only based it on that, and based it on 33% being advanced life support, transports, and the rest being basic life support. In general, a lowball figure is about $86,000. I believe that it could be anywhere from 100 to 115. We have a very good collection rate. And anybody that has private insurance, obviously we get more money for that transport, especially if it's at the paramedic level or the advanced level. So I also had, and I believe the chief had passed them on, was, I'm not sure if he did, was cost of staffing it 24/7. I actually did throw it together just real quick because I didn't have a chance to get to a computer. Basically, what it would cost for 2 people, 24/7, 365, is about $482,000. That's paramedic basic. So you're getting a paramedic, the basic. We've configured it so that they're part-time positions based on a firefighter schedule, an 8-day rotation, where guys would have their own, guys or girls, would have their own 24-hour shift, and that's it. So there's no full-time cost for, you don't have to pay out the benefits or whatnot for that. So there's a savings there.
So I guess I'd need to see the difference between what it's costing us right now, right, versus that.
So
Because right now, you have guys that are per diem and stuff like that, right?
there are per diem.
And so if we were to full-time staff this at that 489 or whatever it is, there's got to be a cost offset of that, right?
There is.
Yeah, that's,
You have in that packet what it costs roughly, because it's a moving target,
right.
to staff that station Monday through Friday. The problem with trying to do a call is we could have a lift assist and have 20 members show up.
Sure.
Or we could have a lift assist and have mutual aid come in. So it's hard to give that other number. If you figure about 50 to 75,000, they'll take care of it. The thing with it is, the way, if it would happen, since we're having, like this weekend, we had back-to-back calls. They went out on a fire alarm, and as they were coming back to the station, they went out on a medical, back-to-back. If that, we'll talk about EMS. If the ambulance would go out for a priority call, there'd be 2 other members or 3 members coming back to cover the station while that ambulance is out, so the town would always be protected.
Right.
With a call department, I can tell you how many calls there are. The deputy can tell you we both can tell you how many EMS. The difference is my number's lower than his because the way they're logged in, okay? And again, it's hard. We went to a fire alarm on the apartment complex. We went last night at 10 o'clock, 10:30, there was 8 of us. We went there about a month ago when I was by myself. So,
I get it. I'm just saying, what I'm trying to understand is, if it's at 489,000, if we want to do this, whatever, and it's 400, are you just adding 489,000 to your salary line?
no, it's in there. I broke took the deputy's numbers, split the difference on, it actually says advanced medic, what the cost is.
Yep.
What we're paying now for the individuals in the station, what the possible revenue would be generated, and that's your bottom dollar. I didn't move figures around, we didn't add for extra, you know what I mean?
Yep.
That's your bottom dollar. But to stand here, I can tell you, we have the staffing. We did it for over a year and a half, covered this town for 24/7 during COVID. We have the staffing, it worked fine. Again, not us, not this side, because I know which way I'd go. The board has to make a decision. You either do it this year, or you're gonna have to do it in a year from now. I know I sat with Trinity and asked what would it cost for one ambulance dedicated to the town of Newton. They won't put it in writing. They quoted $750,000 to $850,000, one ambulance. Newton would be responsible for everything else once that one ambulance is out. In talking, one of the pet peeves I had, and it was in one of the newsletters, they did not want to, well, they wanted to curtail responding to lift assists, helping individuals go to the restroom, putting them back in bed, the minor stuff. That would be the town's responsibility. So if we're going to do that, we're going to have to staff this. Again, I'm not going out, no disrespect to nobody. Been doing it for close to 9 years. I'm not going out by myself at 2 o'clock in the morning. We got lucky we've been extremely lucky. It's a call department. And I'll speak for the deputy. It's probably 4 of us that will come out for mutual aid, structure fires, because the majority of the members are working, or they're in bed to go to work. It's not like it was 15, 20, 43 years ago. It's not, especially with the call volume going and the requirements the state are putting on firefighters and EMTs to maintain our certifications. I wouldn't want to join. No disrespect to anybody.
So, just to kind of summarize here, because we're throwing around a lot of numbers, I think what I'm hearing is if we join that contract with Pride Star with the other 4 towns, we're going to be responsible for approximately $120,000 for the year.
No,
33.
minimum 135 and change.
Okay, so minimum 135 and change. That gets us a year starting March 2024, goes till the end of February 2025.
Correct.
Okay, so that's if we do a 1-year contract. What I'm hearing is to kind of fund our own staffing is $489,000. However, we'll be bringing in revenue, so the likelihood is that number is going to go down, right?
Correct.
Because so we'll be kind of funding our own service, blah blah blah.
Correct.
You sit there, you start to talk about pros and cons, right? So a pro I see with the Pride Star contract is it's kind of like, forgive me, set it and forget it. They're providing the service.
Insurance policy.
You know, there's a contract. They're responsible for upholding the contract.
Yep.
You know, the con is 20 minutes, right? We've done this for years, that it takes a little longer. Other side, pros and cons. Pro is we're controlling our own destiny. We're doing our own thing. Con is we still have to staff it. We kind of going out to market, so we have to be competitive with our pay. We already know it's really hard to staff things. The con is that's a lot of money. I personally, that I'm leaning, at least right now, towards that contract with the other towns and putting the other proposal on the warrant, whether it's captured in the budget for the year or it's a warrant article, because that's a chunk of change. Even if we bring in revenue to bring it down, that's a chunk of change. The contract, I know, I think our town council is currently reviewing it, so I'm not prepared to sign anything tonight, but you know, kind of like we did last time, I can tell you as one vote on the board, I'm leaning towards pursuing that, you know, and we'll see how it comes out in the wash because, you know, once council looks through it and all that good stuff, I'm a little concerned about paying the same amount of money as all the other towns, but I understand what you're saying. We're kind of paying to keep Plastow
No, Plastow's
in the,
done.
what's,
Plastow's done.
so they are done.
They walked out last year.
Okay.
They're done.
So,
The service is horrendous in the town of Plastow, the residents, they don't want it.
so I mean, I can just, I guess what I'm saying is when I sit here tonight with the information in front of me, that's the way I'm leaning.
The only thing I would have to say, if I may, to touch on Matt, Selectman Burrell's, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you put a warrant article for the voters to vote, whatever the wording is, and it is denied, then you cannot use any funds. If you put it in any shape of staff in the fire station, if it's a warrant article,
Yep.
and that warrant article fails, even if the fire department had $5 million in the budget, you can't use that budget to staff that station.
That's not necessarily correct. We would have to write it in such a way. And that's why you want to start talking about it now, right? You don't want to do it last minute, but we would just have to be very careful with our wording. And if it's part of the budget, you know, and we have a default budget like we have right now, then we have to kind of go back to some sort of a contract. But I'm just, again, this is spitballing information I just got. That's how I'm leaning right now. That doesn't mean I couldn't lean another way in 2 weeks or whatever. But if you need an answer to go back to the other towns, I think we could kind of poll the board right now. Which way are you leaning right now?
Just one quick thing.
Yeah.
The reason the board did not receive that had nothing to do with this side.
Yeah,
No, I don't think
Yeah.
anybody thinks
Yeah,
that.
no.
Nobody.
Because after the last meeting, I made sure the board had, because I actually sent an email to
And
the
I
fire chief.
appreciated it. Looks good, too. I mean,
They received an email saying, I need that documentation within at least 10 days prior to this meeting. And you can see when they ended up sending it, because we wanted to make sure the board had ample time to review it. Again, I'm still learning this, but the question I would have, long shot, if the board decided to do it this year, and there was $100,000 put into the fire department budget, if next year's budget defaulted, that money would still be there. Unlike trying to add it next year
Yeah.
and it fails.
Yeah.
That's all. I
But,
mean,
you know-
I will support whatever
Yeah.
the Board of Selectmen will choose. It's just the way it is. If the board wants to wait till legal counsel comes back and gives a decision on the agreement, that's fine. I have 4 fire chiefs, actually 5, Plastow wants to know. I have 4 fire chiefs that I have to send a text to and tell them the board, because I already told them, just so you know, I told them that I believe the board's not going to make a decision tonight. You're going to want to send it to legal counsel. So if it's already gone to legal counsel,
Yep.
Chief, what is your,
great.
what's your reaction as to how they would react, having worked with them?
I can tell you, we all said the same thing. We're not going through this next year. The boards will, I was on the phone with one chief, he's already told his board, this is it for him. One's retiring, so he really don't care. The other 3 of us have already said, whatever the board decides, this is on the board, form a committee, do what you guys want to do. I'll give input. But the fire chiefs, we're a brotherhood, and we've been locking horns. We've been locking horns because I disagree with a bunch of things that has happened in the past 2 years. It's easy as that.
So Chief, the writing's pretty basic, it's on the wall and understandable. I mean, Matt was talking about it. I sat in on the meetings like you talked about when it was discussed. And I, again, to what you just said, I saw the fighting that was going on between all the different towns and everything that took place. I think what we're looking for is just to make sure legal counsel takes a look at the contract to make sure it's it's the way it should be. Again, to your point, we could be paying that $135,000 for no service, because if those 2 ambulances are out, we could constantly be getting nobody coming to this town. So we would be throwing away $135,000 for nothing, and people could start dropping dead in this community. I get it, I understand that, and like Matt said, in believing that this is what's taking place, I think right now is what we have to do is start lining up our ducks so that, you know, with this contract, we got to start looking at, we talked about that second ambulance. We need to start to look at when we would be able to have it on hand, because when we go on our own, you even said it, we need another one because the other one's in being serviced right now. So we need to start to get all of these things and all of those numbers put together so that we can start moving forward. So when that year does come up, that we're ready to rock and roll. You know what I mean?
No, again, I will support whatever board decision. Unfortunately, standing on this side of the fence, I know you didn't go to any of the meetings. But there was some members of the select board, and I know he's no longer the town administrator, at all these meetings. I just assumed, especially Matt, you being the senior, same thing, Bob, you were on the board, that it never came back this way. I thought that's what they were supposed to do, with all due respect. I thought they were the liaisons to the Board of Selectmen. That's why they were going to every meeting. So I'm standing over here getting the warm and fuzzy feeling that you guys, nobody never said nothing to you.
Well, I think we were all aware that, you know, of the timeline and something was going to happen. But, you know, the real data, the real figures, we were not privy to, you know, for whatever reason. I don't think it was intentional.
Well,
you know.
They thought
Yeah.
the big community was going to stay for $300,000.
Yeah, right.
And even for that little bit, that little amount that was their share, they won't even touch it. They were actually asked to come back by the fire chiefs. Instead of them paying their percentage because they were the busiest, if it was evenly split, they won't even touch it. They're the busiest, so they do more interaction than we do. I've only, in the years I've been here, probably a couple of dozen times kicked them out of town.
So I kind of did this last time. Again, no, you know, this is a non-binding vote. This is just polling the board. So the chief can say, you know, tomorrow morning or whatever, tell the other chiefs, this is the way my board's leaning, and they're getting counsel to review it. So at least they have something from us. How are people leaning? I'm leaning towards doing a 1 year and then planning beyond that.
I'm the same way. I'm not planning. I want to make sure that we have everything set in place because, I mean, from what I've read in the contract, the true colors are out. They want to do minimal service for top dollar.
Yeah,
And again, what I said is we could be paying $135,000 for basically no service if those other towns have calls out and those two ambulances are already in service. We get no response, whether it's during the day when we would have somebody at the station or especially at night if they were already out on calls. So, I mean,
To be fair, we're paying $135,000 for what we have now, right? Essentially, to put a fine point on it.
I wouldn't, if it was me, I wouldn't mind paying $135,000 the way it was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
What are we paying currently?
It's been zero bid, that's why nobody's never said nothing.
right.
For the past 11 years.
Because they passed the charge off to,
No, the original, one
It
of the
was
first
worth their
meetings,
while.
you had the old owners of Trinity and the new owners. When the company was purchased, they knew there was a loss. The old owners didn't care, they were giving back to the community.
sure.
The new owners want to give back to the community, and at $675,000 for 2 ambulances, that's a steal.
So this is this will be a new charge to Newton.
Yes.
It'll be a new charge.
That's what,
Yeah.
Correct. It was
Okay.
it's a new charge to the 6 communities, Ended up being 5 communities because one community bailed ship already.
So on that, chief, say we craft our warrant article the way we need to have it crafted through legal and everything, that way you don't lose anybody, whatever, right? Say that passes. How pissed off are the other chiefs gonna be if we decide to do it sooner rather than later? Because reading this, we can leave.
They're all gonna go on their own.
And then it says within 90 days, they can terminate the other town's contract. And the other towns can then renegotiate. It's actually really funny that it's worded this way because
The only,
I don't see a downside for leaving
the
for
only-
you.
The only difference that you have there, when I became chief, the contract, I asked the question. The contract was written by Trinity. It's a Trinity, it's all in favor of Trinity. The
Yeah.
only difference now
Oh,
is
yeah.
now you have nuts. That's all it is. We tried, and if Matt was on the board, we actually, many years ago, changed the contract to allow EMS personnel on scene, if they felt the need to transport, for us to transport. You don't want to know how bad it went. So if Newton decides to do that 1 year, I would strongly say you're going to stay for that 1 year. You decide to bail out, the other, Trinity already said they're not going to do it for 4 towns. So even though it says they have to renegotiate, I'm just,
So they're putting it on us not to pull out, otherwise the wrath of the other towns will be on Newton because we pulled out.
And
I'll be honest with
I think that's, I'm sorry, I think the way, what I was trying to say, and I should have said that, is if we sign up for the 1 year, we should stay for the 1 year because, do unto others, I guess.
I guess that's what I'm saying,
yeah.
is that by us, if we pass this warrant article and the townspeople are for it, which is really what I want, is I want the townspeople to vote on it to show that that's what they
that's a
want.
dangerous thing. That's all I'm going to say.
It's
Well,
their town.
They have to vote on something, right? Because they have to vote on
Whether it's in the budget
Yeah,
or
so I mean,
however we need to do it.
We
but-
just do whatever's right, and I don't think we need to spend a ton of time talking about it tonight because
No.
it's an
It's-
aberration right now.
exactly, and I
but
agree.
I think the timing works in that if we start a contract in February of 2024 with Pride Star, we find out in March.
That's
the
why I
next month,
said the next
whether-
month.
Well, we find out the next month whether we're going to have the funding, and then we come back around the funding.
I can
line.
tell you this,
Non-lapsing is why
all
I
thought-
bring up a warrant article.
they thought Newton was going to do it on its own. We're the only ones that have staffing. Okay? The board, however the board wants to do it, I'm standing here now telling you, the other communities, yes, they're going to sign for 1 year. They're going to start hiring. They're planning on putting staff in January 1st. They're already planning on putting staff in January
Probably come
1st.
from us.
I'm not here to scare anybody. It's a call department. It's just the way it is. The funds, I came from a bigger brotherhood. Here, all the chiefs agreed on what the max pay was going to be for a paramedic, which was 30. We got one community that's already talking 35, another's talking 40. So if anybody has an illusion that a paramedic in Newton that's making $24 is going to go pass up making $40 in another town,
Yeah, but they get to work with you though.
I'd pay for them.
But so,
That's all.
Dan, it sounds like you're leaning,
Towards the 1 year contract?
Yeah, I am, but like you said, we gotta have legal do it and all that stuff.
right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I would much rather do it in-house,
Oh, yeah.
100%, but I'm looking to bridge right now because I am in favor of the townspeople deciding on something like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Only because it's easy. You voted for it. When people come up to me and say, why did it take so long for the ambulance to get here? I'd say, it was you voted. And I get it, and
Again, the reason we're standing here is because other 5 communities, town administrators, town managers, boards of selectmen, all said no warrant articles. Every single one of them said no warrant article.
Sure.
And they all said the same thing. If it's any type of language for staffing, EMS, and the warrant article fails, it's over. That's on that side of the table, it's not this side of the table.
Joe, where do you stand?
I want to do a warrant article.
My initial reaction.
We'll get to that.
My initial reaction is to do it ourselves because we need to control our own destiny moving forward. However, with that all said and done, that 1 year is going to be an insurance policy, so to speak, and hopefully we can get things done in an expeditious manner, rather than, spending a couple of years that we spent doing nothing, not planning for it. And hopefully we can plan for it in a rational way.
And
Because it's a life safety issue at this point in time. 20 minutes or 15 minutes for an ambulance to come, you'll have a lot of angry residents calling and saying why.
I would even throw out there that we could bake it into the contract that we will stay for a year.
Yeah.
So, if any of the towns are concerned, they're gonna back, we could put it in the contract.
Yep.
The towns thought Newton was, again, they thought we were going to be the only last town in Newton
Yeah.
with the two that were going to staff.
Remember Mike's on the.
Mike?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
So I'm leaning to the 1-year contract. I do want to hear what legal counsel has to say and how that comes back. My thing is the exploration of if we decided to go vote, can there be language that is non-hindering to the department should the town people vote no? Like, I want to know what all the recourse action that we have legally, and meaning to back the fire chief.
I really like the way Joe put it, that this contract becomes the insurance policy, and we move forward, we put it out to the townspeople and say, if you take this serious enough, vote for this. And if
It's a
they
life
don't,
safety
we
issue.
have-
It is serious.
And I'm fine with putting it in the budget, chief, too. So
Yeah,
you don't have to
whatever
avoid,
works.
so you can avoid the whole warrant article thing, but I will say this, that it's not just Newton. Like, the same thing can happen, Atkinson can leave, and Trinity can say, you have, what did it say, 90 days. We're gonna terminate in 90 days, and you can renegotiate a contract, and now we want $200,000. So it's not just us.
Well, I can tell you this, out of the whole bunch, there's only a couple of us that have paramedic licenses. So a lot of them have to stay into the game, because it's gonna take them about 9 months to a year
Sure.
to get the equipment and get the medic license. You know what I mean? Get their ambulances up to the ALS
Yeah.
and get staffing.
Yep.
If they can get them.
That's it. So I'd stand, I've been wrong many times. I'd say the other communities, once they put the John Hack on there, they're gonna
They're gonna
stay.
stay for that year.
The only thing that I'm afraid of, and so are the other fire chiefs, once the John Hancock's put from the 5 communities, you're committed $135,000, they know they're leaving in 1 year, what's the service you're gonna have?
If
Because I
not-
can't provide the service.
After 9 months, it'll start going downhill.
I can't provide the service.
When's the drop dead date on this contract?
They were hoping for you guys for today.
Yeah, but when is their date? I mean, it doesn't start until March, so,
But it's a double-edged thing. Trinity needed time to do an exit strategy. I brought up today, September 1st. I was laughed at. No disrespect to my brother chiefs, I really don't care about them. Atkinson, Sandown, Danville, and Hampstead is not my concern.
right.
I was hired for Newton. I don't care about them. I'm not gonna be bullied. I already got called a few
I'm sure you
with that mass adjective added into it. I'm not gonna be threatened. You're not gonna threaten Newton, and you're not gonna bully Newton. Okay? Simple as that. However long it takes the Board of Selectmen to make a decision is how long it's gonna take. We do. Okay. However
You guys
long,
plan those things? I always notice when you're you're in meetings and you're at like that dramatic point, you get a call, and you have to leave. It's
You might
almost
as well
like a-
go.
There's not too many nights anybody sleeps all night, but that's just so you know, Dan, take as long as you need. I really don't care. I was
Okay.
already told today, and Trish knows. I was on the phone with one of them. Oh, no, the board has to make a decision today. Good luck.
But,
I'm giving it September 1st. Well, then, don't threaten.
but I
Well,
think,
it's not a threat.
but I think
Yeah.
we agree, if the chief's talking to the other chiefs tomorrow, the board is leaning this way. We're just having town council get us a letter against it, and then considering what we want to propose. I don't think any of us want to belabor this any longer than we have to. We have another meeting in 2 weeks,
We-
you know.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Just keep in the back of your coconut, no matter what. If you're gonna do this for 2025, the last meeting we were at, I gave you a proposal for an ambulance. I'll take the hit for it. They called. I wasn't signing on the dotted line. That one's gone. Okay? You might see something if it's moved quick next spring.
Okay.
So if you're planning on, nobody's got a crystal ball.
No,
Chief, I have a question relative to ambulances. What is the wait time right now that you're hearing out there for
You might
ordering
have
one and
plenty.
building?
How much do you want to spend? Last, I'll just spend an extra $50,000 to get theirs. That was supposed to be this year. They're gonna probably see it, I was told this morning, maybe in March.
So you're looking at what, 18 months, 24 months?
On an average, any type of fire department equipment, because that's considered a rescue. Okay, let's clear that up. That has fire extinguishers, thermal cameras, hazmat equipment. It transports, but if you remember, we got rid of the rescue truck. There's a lot of fire department equipment put on that. That rolls the hazmat. It doesn't only do EMS.
Right, and I understand that.
that-
Yeah, I understand.
On an average, everybody's being told at least 24 months.
So once again, we need to start planning for that immediately. Okay.
On an
thank you.
average, 24 months.
Chief,
Mike?
I have a question, and I can't remember if it's Joe or Dan. So I just want to kind of piggyback off the fact that if we spend the money and we don't get the service, I'm going to assume that there's no type of service level agreement built into these contracts, right? That there's minimum amounts that are expected or things that we can fall back on. Am I correct in that understanding?
If you're asking me, I believe it's the same thing. That if any community decides to change any type of verbiage in that contract, all the other communities have to go back to the table. And just so you know, in talking about bullying, this was Trinity's Black Friday special. If the towns decide not to do this and we go back in a couple of months, that's not going to be the price. That was the Black Friday special signed today.
I think what Mike's trying to say is typically when you have a service contract, you have what's called a service level agreement. So in other words, let's say you hired somebody to do your IT servers, right? And if all of a sudden that service level dropped below, you know, they have to be powered up and on for, 95% of the time, because if they're not, then you have the ability to go back to that IT, contractor and say, you owe us X amount of dollars because you didn't meet the service level agreement number, which was 95%. I think, if I can interpret for you, is we don't get that with this.
No.
So what Bob's talking about is if all the calls are going to Hampstead and we have to do everything ourselves, there's no way to,
Because
there's no recourse, so.
No, and that's, if you read the contract, they say that.
Yeah.
They
Well,
say that's it.
that's why
the
we need to
original-
control our
The
own
contract that
destiny.
you had now was 2 + 1 for free.
Yeah,
They had to provide you ALS, advanced or medic level. We've been getting basic trucks,
yeah.
and we've been getting them from Haverhill, or Lawrence, or Lowell.
So it's not even Trinity.
We've been getting them. There is,
I hate to say it this way, but this is the best of the bad ideas,
Yeah,
is what we're talking about.
But-
There's no like perfect idea, but we need this service, and this might be the best way to
But
go.
there should be no surprise unless a resident just moved in today.
Yeah.
I've been up at this podium for many, many, many years discussing this, that sooner or later this was going to happen, that free ride for transports was going to end. Sooner or later, that 15-year-old ambulance was going to die, and we needed something else. I tried getting one 4 years ago, or 3 years ago, whatever it was, and it was denied. So unless you moved into town today, it shouldn't be a shock. All right, I'll let the chiefs know that tentatively, you're going to wait for
Think
legal
about
counsel to get back.
Just tell them we're thinking about it. You can give them all our numbers.
Not mine.
Give them my number.
I'm not a gambling man, but ever since that became live, I guarantee you,
They know.
popcorn has been on.
Is your phone ringing yet?
So they already know. Yeah, I did get a couple of texts. So they already know what's going on.
Yeah, so we're in favor, we're just waiting for town council
That's
just to
fine.
verify.
Like I said, if the board wants to entertain getting a new vehicle, I'll give you the contact information, and you guys can work on that. Okay?
I think that would definitely behoove us,
4 years ago.
yeah.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, chief.
See you.
Yeah.
Am I to understand that the board is not going to be asked to look at ambulances? Is that?
Well, I need a definite answer. No
qualified to do
disrespect to
that.
nobody. We've worked many vehicles and got them to a certain point, and then all of a sudden, through the years, it has changed and went a different way. If it's a definite to look into getting an ambulance, I can do that. But I'm not, no disrespect, I'm not gonna waste my time for nothing. Is it just like the deputy. Deputy spent hours and hours to come up with a proposal. I've spent countless days, nights, weekends for over 2 years for this EMS stuff. It takes a long time for an ambulance. So if the board is serious, we'll move forward. But if the board's not serious, why should I start specking out ambulances if we don't have the funds? The funds ain't coming until March. There's no need doing nothing until January, February.
My understanding is that the funds
I
are,
thought we had the funds.
you're going for two different sources. You're going from a capital
I
reserve,
thought we had the funds.
fire apparatus equipment,
Yep.
and ARPA was going to fund the second part. So
Yep.
there's no new tax dollars associated with the exploration of an ambulance. But what it does do for the town of Newton is it gives you more options at the end of the rainbow.
Exactly.
Exactly.
In addition to that, we have an ambulance that's limping now.
Right.
So the need currently exists, and it's not going to get any better over time.
No, so I would spec one out, chief.
Okey-dokey. Just so you know, that number for that other one, just,
Here we go. He's gonna another 20% on top of that one.
no, I think, no, Matt, when he called, he said, I think it was 40 grand more. Wait, it's a deal. Last I was 50. It's a deal. But, all right, now I'll try to set something up
Yeah.
to go look at.
I think, Chief, I think by the makeup of this board, you know, we're not going to be, you know, nitpicking you and telling you what to do when you know what to do and we don't, so.
Chief, the only problem we had with that was getting it dropped on us like that. If,
It was,
Dropped on him, too.
it was one of those things,
and I get it. I do.
again, a board member worked it. He's a great salesman. I have the utmost respect for him. He went, he met with the manufacturer, spent hours, he learned everything about an ambulance and how they operate, maintenance and everything. I will give that man a lot of credit. I won't take the credit for that coming forward. That was on him.
Sure.
He did all that legwork,
Sure.
okay? Unfortunately, yeah, they sent it to me,
In that
and I
that
sent
that
it here.
was my only issue was that it was like,
Yeah.
I need to know right now, and I'm like, wait a second.
Well, there's only one.
And I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it.
24, which is fine. I'm easy to get along with.
But we're not, I don't think any of us on the board was opposed to it. It was the fact that it got dropped on us right then.
Which is
Not
fine.
your fault. But, I mean, we need an ambulance. We're not blind to that.
No, that-
You know,
that's
and
fine.
we have the funds.
If I send it, Robin, if I send you something, and not tomorrow, because I got to call them, I got a lot of stuff going on. I send it to you, can you send it to the board, or do I send everything? Because apparently you guys didn't get that other document.
Go
that
there
said
first then.
Robin was on vacation.
Send it to
So
everybody.
you want to send it to town admin and CC Robin.
Yeah.
You can't send it to too many people.
Yeah,
So if you were to send it to those two
And
and
the
us
board.
5,
It's fine.
Not
Create
bad.
a new
Yeah.
contact drop with that
Okay.
and drop it.
Okay.
yeah.
I just want to know going to the future. Just the look on your face when I said I sent you 3.
I know, that's why I
Chief,
like,
I think
knew.
you
I
know,
was
I
like,
think you
wait,
know we're
what?
going into a new era over here, and stuff that happened in the past, hopefully is gonna be in the past, because none of us can handle that moving forward.
Seriously, thank him for what he did.
Yep.
Because it does look good, and I want to spend more time looking at it, to be honest with you.
Anything with EMS,
Yeah,
he works for right there.
it was,
When the
it's,
bell rings, he works for me. Other than that, he works.
yeah, so thank him for that, definitely,
Yeah.
okay?
Have a good night.
Have a good night,
Thank
Chief.
you.
See you, chief.
So to recap, when anything is sent directly to by the chief, you don't reply all,
Yeah, obviously,
and you don't put any dialogue,
yeah,
I'd be happy to be conduit.
Yeah.
of course.
That's good, yep.
Based on one
That's the way it should be.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Ms. McCarthy,
You have to be shorter than the chief.
I could do that. So, do I
I
need
got
this
my
for
egg
Mike?
timer on.
Hello, hello. Is this for Mike?
Yep, it's working.
Okay. Okay. So, at your last meeting, I informed you that the ARPA committee, we recommended purchasing the grills for the Town Beach and Granny Park and the picnic tables. And somehow, in my blonde senior infinite wisdom, I was assuming that we voted on it, and evidently we didn't. So today, I called looking for them. I called the company, and they said, "We don't have your check." I said, "Oh, let me call the bookkeeper," thinking I'm going to straighten this whole thing out, and realized, uh-oh, we need the requisition signed so that I can send it. So hence where I'm going to ask you to sign that requisition that I really thought we already signed. So I'm sorry about that. And I think Jim has it. And that was $3,437.89.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
I'm making that motion.
So you're looking for a motion to approve
I am.
the requisition that was discussed at the last meeting?
Yes. Thank you.
I'm going to move to approve ARPA requisition 2023-012 for the amount of $3,437.89, funds obviously to come from ARPA.
Second.
I'll second.
Being seconded. Roll call, Mike?
Aye.
Pat?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you. Now I can call them and tell them it wasn't them, it was me. So thank you. Also, the cameras at Town Beach and Granny Park, Town Hall and Transfer Station, that's all stuff the ARPA committee is still talking about. We're having some issues with some of the cameras. They do need to be replaced. Chief Jewett is working on that. I'll keep you posted. I know I keep telling you this, but that's all I can tell you, is that. Also, I haven't talked about this in a while, but a long time ago, I feel like it was a year ago, probably was, Motorola Public Communication Equipment for the police department for a total of $26,240.28, which you guys all approved. It's still in my
Pending.
what do I want to say, pending column. We are still waiting on them. I think the equipment is coming from Timbuktu, I'm not sure. And the chief said when it comes in, it'll all be installed, but it was all the desk sets that he talked about that he really needed. So I just wanted to put it out there because I haven't really mentioned it in a while. So we're waiting for that. EOC update, so Homeland Security has asked me and the road agent to work on the most recent rain flood event. They have labeled one for the last 7 days, and they're trying to do an assessment to see if we can reach the threshold. So I have driven on every single road. I've taken pictures of everything, any damage that we have, including the town hall, any washouts we've got in the parking lot here, the transfer station, even at the safety complex. So we're compiling all of that. We don't know if they're gonna label it a disaster, so we'll get reimbursed, but I will keep you posted on that. Seabrook update. I've spent a lot of time this last month meeting with Seabrook, and they have given us dates for our Seabrook training and our drill. Some of you are involved, or you may want to be involved. The dates, and I will send this out to everyone who is already on the Seabrook staff and the EOC staff, but the dates are going to be October 18th, 8 to 3, February 7th, God, next year already, 8 to 3, and our graded drill, which is really, if we do well, that's what gives us the money. They reimburse us for all kinds of things. Our graded drill is April 3rd. So again, I'm going to send out information. I'm going to do a mock drill for us all to get together and do some training. It might be August, it might be September. I'm working on that, and I'll send it out. And anyone that wants to participate, let me know, and I'll add you to the list. Technically, we're supposed to have 3 tiers. So like there's a selectman representative, that's Joe, but we're supposed to go back 3. I'm technically supposed to have 3. We're supposed to have a town administrator. I'm supposed to go back 3. Road agent, I'd go back 3. So we've got all these different stations. They all have job aids that I've been actually having to update. And so it's like a script. You kind of know what you're doing, or if you pretend anyway, until the graded drill, and then we really have to know what we're doing. So I'll keep you all posted on that. Conservation update. Did I bring all my stuff? Yes. So as you know, for many years, we've been talking about remodeling the intersection at 108 Amesbury Road and Maple Ave. According to, I got a call actually today from House of Representative Charlie Melvin. The plan was actually approved and signed today by Janet Stevens, Chris Jacobs, and Charlie Melvin. The work is going to start in 2024. The state is going to go out for bids. They'll review them, and they'll probably keep us in the loop. That being said, it's on a conservation level because you know that piece of land on the corner of Amesbury Road and Maple? That's owned by conservation. There's actually a well on that property that services the house across the street. So the state wanted us to know that any property that is going to abut the disturbance of this new intersection that they're going to be doing should have their wells tested before the work starts and then after. And the state is going to provide money for the residents to do that. So because conservation owns that one well, we may have to have that tested for the man across the street. But I wanted you to know that we'll get reimbursed. The state has funds. I haven't seen the link where to go yet, you know, knowing the state will get it next year. No, only kidding. Sorry. So I'll keep you informed on that. But it was approved. DOT construction will start next year. Also, conservation, we did a site walk this morning. It was very disheartening how much damage was done to some wetlands during the construction of a new home. Clearly, there were no permits. There was, I mean, you can't even say, oh, we didn't know these were wetlands. We looked, I took pictures of standing water. Really, really a shame. I'm going to send a complete report to ZBA along with the building department, the homeowner, and DES. I'll fill you in when we're not, you know, actually on TV. Also, you should know that.
And the planning board.
Right, didn't I say planning board?
said
Well, they came in
ZBA.
front of ZBA, that's why conservation got involved. I don't know how they missed planning board.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you miss planning board?
I don't know how that happened. They did get a denial from Sam, so then they went to ZBA. Conservation knew nothing about it. And technically, if you read all our ordinances, not that you need this, because I know you want me to talk not as much as the chief, but our ordinance do say that any construction should be, and you know this probably, not more than 50, more than 50 feet away from wetlands.
Exactly.
And it is, and then this guy that was there today was the neighbor, and he came over and said, oh, yeah, no, they didn't do anything. And it's like, it was fresh dirt. 4 feet of fresh dirt was added to this site. But anyway, I'll fill you in. It's interesting that it missed planning board completely. Also, a little bit of conservation. The new septic statute was passed into law this week. You may know this. It was signed by the governor. A quick update. The bill states that only single-family residences and up to one associated accessory dwelling unit that's included in an approved plan are eligible to receive a replacement in-kind permit. It goes on to say that the existing statute states that construction of the system may proceed upon the submission of an application to the department by a permitted designer and receipt of the permit by rule from that department. A copy of approval for construction and operation and a plan matching the operational approval shall be submitted with the application. While existing statute says private wells need to be placed at least 75 feet from septic, but what is happening now, they're saying, landowners are saying that in order to, they put it on the edge of their property, you've probably seen this, so that they can keep their neighbor from building too close to them. Well, now they're saying that House Bill 247 is intended to simplify the process, eliminate the need for a document to be recorded, and the well water contractor has to be required to submit a setback reduction with NHDES, and I assume Planning Board probably should get that, but I wanted to let you know because Conservation was a little bit involved in this. And the only other thing is, hey, bad weather, humidity, flooding, it's still happening. I sent you updates last week. I'm getting them every 4 hours, so I'm really trying not to bother you. But when I get a really bad one, I'll let you know. That's it.
Thank you, Trish.
Thank you.
Yeah, Trish and I have our picnic baskets all set to go. Thank you, Trish. All right, abatement memo.
It's an abatement application, actually.
Yep, so the application came in, taxpayer reason for abatement as written by applicant. The approved plan was not accepted. This is from Christina Murdaugh, the assessor. It says taxpayer reason for abatement as written by applicant. The approved plan was not accepted by the town, and the one lot was divided into 6 different lots. Also, the Newton, New Hampshire Planning Board is denying us the sale of lot. Therefore, we still consider 14-1-27-4 as one lot and would like to abate it. The assessor's response was, the plan was approved by the Newton Planning Board on March 3rd, 2022, then recorded at the Rockingham County Registry of Deeds, plan number 432006. Once I received the recorded plan from the Registry of Deeds, I put the 6 new condominium sites into the assessing software as depicted on the plan. I was not able to locate any information to confirm that the Newton Planning Board was denying the sale of any newly created lots, and the taxpayer did not provide anything to support the claim. And as ex officio of the planning board, I can state that that did not happen. So the assessor's recommendation is to deny the request for abatement, and I believe that because of how the assessor, with the information and the information I just put forth, that there is no reason for the abatement to take place.
So I would move to deny the abatement application for map lot 14-1-24-4 as recommended by the town's contract assessor.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. We'll do a roll call vote. Mike?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. That's unanimous. All right, next order of business. Intent to cut. So we were informed from our friends over at,
Rex? ZBI?
the name of the company,
ZBI or Trex?
huh?
Hold on a second.
It's Terex.
Terex.
Terex put in,
1 second.
yep,
The last motion we just made,
yep.
the lot number that Matt used was different than the lot number that you said in the letter.
I put
And
an
if
extra-
I'm correct, we need to correct that.
Yeah, there was an extra zero put in, I think.
So I'm going to,
We're looking at approved motions.
exactly, yeah.
And I believe it's,
27, not 24.
Yeah, so
so let's
Good catch.
fix that.
I'm going to amend my motion to have the correct lot number, which is 14-1-27-4.
1 second, Matt, Robin's not here.
I got it.
You got it? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. You have to,
Still a second?
Joe, you still second
Second,
it?
yes.
Mike?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye?
Joe?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
And I'm still an aye, so it's still unanimous.
I just,
That was,
Nope, I
that
get
was
you.
to check to see who was paying attention.
Yeah.
That's what that was all.
That was all planned.
I might have been.
There you go. All right, so this is the right to cut for Terex Company. The planning board had approved a thing for them, so it looks like they put in to do some cutting
Does it
to
say
make
how
room
much
for their building.
cutting or?
Area to
think it's
cut
a
is
1.1.
1.1 acre. So it's all, it's in, the state has signed it.
I would move to acknowledge the receipt of a notice of intent to cut for 22 Whittier Street, map and lot 6, -13-2-22 pursuant to NHRSA 7910.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Mike,
Aye.
Matt,
Aye?
Joe,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. That's unanimous.
I would like to say something, Bob.
Yeah,
I'm concerned that, that this was done after the fact rather than before the fact. And also the fact that the abutters were not notified because there were some other issues that went before conservation having to do with some drainage and everything. So I'm very concerned that, you know, that the abutters weren't notified. And,
well, they came before the planning board, Joe, and the issue about the drainage was addressed at the planning board meeting and taken care of.
it was.
Yes,
Okay.
I was there.
Well, I was told by the resident that she did not know anything about it until after the fact.
From the letter.
Well, they had to come before the planning board in
The
order
intent
to,
cut I read from
Okay.
to get
motions.
the site plan adjustment to be addressed.
I thought
And when
it
they
said-
did,
Yeah.
the conservation came in, I forget what the lady's name was, she addressed it, we brought it up, and it was taken care of. And I talked with Ms. McCarthy about it, about what's going on and the new ponds that, things that they're putting in place for the pondage, so that there should be less runoff going into it. So all those matters have been addressed and are being taken care
A
of.
lot of the cutting was done way before June 27th.
So,
Well,
go ahead, Bob. You know more about this.
some of it is they're doing extra, and some of it is because it was their property and they didn't really need to do an intent to cut because they're not selling it, Joe. The intent to cut is usually when they're cutting it down and the wood's gonna be sold. They're gonna end up using that wood to test out their new equipment
Okay.
when they make it, so it's gonna be kept on site for usage.
And not to go down a rabbit hole, but I believe we do not approve intents to cut.
Right.
The state
State
does.
does.
We just, it's kind of a notice thing for us.
Okay. So we're
if-
just
if
like
I
saying
was-
we're in receipt of it.
If I was in a butter, I would be contacting the state to
Right.
complain that this person was doing something and they didn't follow the right steps. So if the abutter's watching, that's what I would do.
Did you want to get up?
Well, I'm going to do that. But also, to piggyback what you're saying, and again, we don't need to beat a dead horse here. I actually think that they did get the intent to cut because it was brought to their attention once we were all talking about it. So at least they did the right thing, you know? But anyway, next on your is requisition 7.3 ARPA 2023-011. And we talked about this back in February. If you remember, Mary Jo needed new election booths.
Yep.
And we got the election booths, and they were delivered without curtains. And when we realized that, we quickly got a hold of the company and said, we need curtains, what's going on? And they said, oh yeah, but you're not gonna have them for elections. So although we talked about this, we finally got the invoice. And by the way, the curtains finally came in months after election. So this is the requisition that we talked about back in February or March. And so the curtains with shipping are $2,319. So it's kind of a new requisition, but it's old news because we talked about it.
Right.
Okay.
This was the hook on the, why the booths were so cheap.
Yes.
Because they charge extra for the curtains.
That's right. Yeah, they didn't tell us the whole
It's
thing.
funny because the vendor's called inclusion.
Yes, we said that. Mary
They
Jo
didn't
said that.
include
So with that said, I'd like to move to approve opera requisition number 2023-001 to purchase curtains for the voting booths provided by Inclusion Solutions in the amount of $2,319, funds to come from opera.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Mike?
Yeah.
Still on, he's just muted.
Sounds like a yes, but just very. Can come back.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, I'm an aye.
Matt?
I'm an aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. Thank you, Trish.
You're welcome.
Okay, manifest.
I move to approve a vendor manifest in the amount of $170,980.35 that's dated July 4th of 2023.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Mike?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Unanimous.
I would also like to move to approve a vendor manifest in the amount of $1,401,808.78 dated July 18th, 2023. Payments include $1,355,339.00 to Sanborn Regional High School.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Mike?
Aye.
Matt? Aye. Joe?
Aye.
Are we boring you, Mike? Dan?
Aye.
No, that financial piece.
And I'm an aye. That's unanimous.
I would move to approve a withdrawal in the amount of $6,418.60 from the Cable Revolving Fund, account number 391293. Payment is for Hewlett Packard Financial Services invoice in the amount of $718.60 and to Armon Networks in the amount of $5,700.00, totaling $6,418.60.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Mike?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. That's unanimous.
I'm just going to keep on rolling.
Yep.
Go for it.
I move to approve a withdrawal in the amount of $1,435.34 from the police special detail account number 244848. These funds are used to pay for vehicular vehicle fuel.
There you go.
All right. Say that 5
Second.
times fast.
Seconded by Dan. Mike?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye?
Joe?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
I move to approve a vendor manifest in the amount of $44,647.96 dated July 18th, 2023.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Mike?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye?
Joe?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. That's unanimous.
Did Dan get to vote twice, or did you go back to him?
Huh?
It seems
Maybe I
like you went
voted
out of
twice.
order. Yeah, that's all right.
It's all right.
Happens. I move to approve payroll manifest in the amount of $72,706.35 for pay period June 18th through July 1st, 2023, with a pay date of July 7th, 2023. This manifest includes $351.39 in ARPA administrative costs.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Mike?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Unanimous.
I move to approve payroll manifest in the amount of $56,638.27 for pay period July 2nd to July 15th, 2023, with a pay date of July 20th, 2023. This manifest includes $749.20 in ARPA administrative costs.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Mike?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Unanimous.
I move to approve and accept the public meeting minutes dated June 20th, 2023 as written.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Mike?
No.
Matt?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Unanimous.
And I move to approve and accept the non-public meeting minutes dated June 20th, 2023 as written.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Mike?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. That's unanimous. Actions items, new and old business. Selectmen's goals and objectives. Matt has something he's going to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're decided on what the goals were, but one of them was just the markup of the Code of Ethics policy, so I sent that out to everybody, markup at your leisure, but I think on August 1st, we should start to try to finalize some of that. And, you know, the main thing is if there's something that you feel needs a little clarity in terms of wording, then point it out. We don't have to use every Webster's dictionary word, you know what I mean? We can do whatever
Sure.
makes sense, so,
Yeah, the sooner the better.
yeah, that's all I had.
Anybody got anything else on any of the other goals or objectives?
No, I think it's pretty accurate of what we're trying to do.
And where we've been going with everything?
Yeah, it's,
One public service announcement.
Yep.
Congressman Chris Pappas is having office hours here at the Town Hall on Wednesday, July 26th, from 1 to 2 p.m. He will not be here, his staff will be present to meet with any residents of Newton that like to discuss anything that they want at the federal level with the staff. And it will take place in this room. And it's also on the list.
Anything else? Mike?
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good.
All right.
I got some questions.
Go.
Where are we at with the phone systems and the emergency stuff not working and all that other stuff that we discussed a month ago? Did we get anywhere on that?
So we're in a current contract. The library and the town hall is a different vendor.
Of course.
That expires, I believe, in December. We're looking to merge it in June.
Okay, good.
As far as the quality of service goes, they're looking into it. They're going to get back to us.
Okay.
The telephone system has turned into a bit of a behemoth. Quite frankly, when we looked into what transpired, when we upgraded the server in the town hall through Armon, the upgrade didn't support the ability to have voicemails sent to your voice.
Sure.
Worse for the DPW and I, the road agent, is not only did that not happen anymore because of the upgrade, they really never had the ability to to receive messages, period. So Robin's looking into either a separate vendor to do that for the road agent, even if we have to put a machine beside his phone like we did, you know.
Back in the day, exactly.
We need to have some way for the road agent to get the information.
100%.
Yeah.
Is there, can we have Armon do it and do it at the DPW?
You can ask.
So he has Comcast over there, so we were looking into that, and we reached out to a guide to give us an evaluation
Okay,
to see if we can make it efficient.
okay. All right, good. Thank you.
Anything else?
Oh, that was it.
Joe? Good. All right. With that being said, we'll adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn at 7:47 PM.